Hello and welcome back to Running on Pixie Dust. I'm your host, Annika. Be sure to give me a follow on socials at Annika Hudak, or my main form of communication in the social sphere is on Instagram at Annika's Paintbrush. Welcome back to season 2 of Running on Pixie Dust. I really tried to get this next episode out pretty quickly, so I'm proud of myself for that. But it's because I got a lot to say, so hence why I love having a podcast, because I can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So here we are. If you've been listening, then welcome back. If you're new to my podcast, be sure to check out episode 0 of why I even started this podcast to align with dopey challenge training. And here I am again, now training for dopey 2024 with a few hiccups involved. So, more to come on that. I love learning new things. I say that only half sarcastically. There was a TikTok that came up on my page. All of my references are TikToks, essentially. But there was this video that was like, of this woman. She's like, I'm done learning. I don't need to know any more things. And that's how I feel sometimes. So, sometimes. Emphasis on sometimes. But anyways, I've learned so much with this process. And I just love being able to chat about it. I love being able to talk running. I literally got brunch with a friend this weekend and we talked so much running, and it's just we could talk all day about it. So love, 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 love. But a disclaimer that I say every episode is I am not a coach. I'm not affiliated with anyone, and I'm just sharing my personal experiences and opinions, and I just love to talk about running and my life in Orlando and Disney. So yeah, happy you're here. Welcome to episode 24. I will be giving you my highs and lows, and then my big low is the star of the show this episode. So we will get there. Starting off with my highs, happy October. Oh my goodness. Did September even happen? I'm not convinced it actually happened. I have my photos and videos and flight receipts that say September happened, but I'm still not convinced. Oh my word, that passed so quickly. I can't even believe it. Happy October. It's fall for normal people with seasons. Here in Florida, it is still 90 degrees. We have had some evenings that dropped below 80. It was in the 70s. Oh my gosh, I needed a sweatshirt. Like, it's chilly out. Fall is here. So, I guess that technically is fall for us. It's not like 99 out and 100% humidity. Although the daily rains have been much longer and a little chillier. And then it gets kind of humid and hot when it's done. So, I guess you could say it is fall. It's a Florida fall, if you will. I love seeing everyone finally hopping on the Halloween wagon, because I guess for them, Halloween doesn't start until October. But for me, it started July 5th. So it's kind of just like, oh, okay, welcome everyone. Yeah, it's been Halloween. Where have you been? Like, I've been over there in Halloween. Where were you? Anyway, I went to, I go to Halloween Horror Nights every year, and I'm a big HHN fan. I have my frequent fear pass. I'm usually there opening weekend, and I honestly overdo it in September normally. And then by October, I'm like, ugh, I've done so much HHN. But that didn't happen this year because I was out of town for opening weekend. That's when I was in Hawaii. And it like monsooned opening night I saw, so I felt better about missing out. But anyway, I'm so glad that it's like respectable, or socially acceptable is a better phrase, to be yelling out Happy Halloween to everyone. And if you aren't watching on YouTube, you aren't seeing me lift up my Happy Halloween t-shirt that I got from Magic Kingdom that has a cute pink and turquoise and yellow pumpkin on it. I love, 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 love. But I actually went to Howl O Scream this past weekend at SeaWorld, and that was honestly my first time at SeaWorld ever going. And then I went to Sir Henry's Haunted Trail the weekend before, and that was super fun. I've been loving doing all the spooky things. And it's kind of crazy that doing events like those ones are scarier than horror nights at Universal. Because like I feel like those events, it's just all bets are off. Like they can follow you around, they get like in your face. And it's live actors in the houses. Like, and what I mean by that is there's no music and sound effects. It's all just coming from the actor. So they're literally screaming in your face. Whereas at Universal, they're not actually doing that. It's just soundtracks and sound effects already like on a loop and with music added and like lighting and all that. But these places don't necessarily have all of that, which is wild and almost makes it scarier. So then going back to HHN, it was like, oh, okay, this is better. I'm okay going through these houses. It's fine. But I love things all Halloween. I'm so happy that everyone else is bringing out the pumpkin patches, and again, it's socially acceptable that everyone is in the fall mindset now. So exciting stuff. With it being October, I can't believe that I went to write the date and I did the whole 9 situation. So we're switching to 10 now. We are in the month 10. I do have a friend visiting me next weekend, and I'm so excited to see her. Literally known her since middle school. We have 3 matching tattoos, and she's never been, I'm pretty sure she's never been to Disney World before. So that'll be so fun to have her here and take her to the parks and just have a good time. I've got my California trip. I go back to California this month. And, well, I mean, I went last month against my will, stopping at LAX. But this month I'm going for real. And I'm so excited. So many fun things happening. But I feel like I'm still recovering from my trip in September. I can't do this anymore. I'm not 21. I can't just, like, hop on a flight from Shanghai back to Orlando and then go to work the next day, which is a thing that I actually did in 2019. I like went back to work the day I flew back from China. So I had Energizer Bunny energy. Like, I don't know how I did anything, but I did everything. And now I can't do anything. Getting old is fun. Which, like, I'm not even old. Like, let's be real. 30s are the new 20s. Like, you're only as, what's that saying? You're only as old as you feel, except I feel 95. So I don't know how to even gauge that. Anyway, okay, my final high got me kicking my feet. If you've been anywhere on the internet, or if you're chronically online like myself, and or know anything about this woman named Taylor Swift, don't know if you've heard of her, don't know if you heard about this like ball sports guy. He wears red. Oh my gosh, I have been dying over all of the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce content. Everything. It has filled my For You page on TikTok, and I could not be happier about it. I just love. I am living for her cheering at the game with his mom. His podcast, New Heights. I didn't know he had a podcast with his brother, and obviously, like, I knew about the brothers in the Super Bowl last year, or was that this year? Sports. When they were in the Super Bowl, I knew it was the brothers, and I knew Mama Kelsey was just a star. And I remember seeing footage of her hugging the boys and, like, congratulating one and, like, consoling the other one. But I had no idea they had a podcast. Isn't that crazy that Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map? Like, wild. I'm going to pause and let anyone get upset that needs to get upset. No, I'm also dying over when, like, the prank that's going around online where people are saying that, which is honestly not wrong. Like, let's be real. Internationally, no one cares about American football other than Americans. Like, be so for real. No one cares. Like, there's a very small population of people outside of the U.S. that care about American football. And, like, who the the Chiefs tight end would be. You know what I mean? And like, not to say that he's unsuccessful. He's very successful. He's great. Woohoo, sports ball. But you can walk down the street and ask anyone if they know who Taylor Swift is, and they'll say yes. Like, be so for real. Okay, anyway. I am loving it. Go Chiefs. Sports ball. I have a friend who lives in Kansas City, and well, she lives kind of outside of Kansas City, but on like the Kansas side. And she was at the Kansas City Night 1 for the Speak Now release. And then she gets this. Why is Kansas getting everything? Why? I mean, technically KC, but like it's in, both the Kansas and the Missouri, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Kansas for short. How about that? They're being fed. They are being fed by Taylor Swift, and I'm very jealous. And the impact it's had on the internet is amazing. And on the actual NFL themselves, the actual verified NFL accounts changed all of their social media bios as well as their Twitter or X or whatever. The word just fell out of my head. The banners to Taylor Swift are like, Taylor Swift was here. She's back. Don't worry. I've seen videos of the announcers panning, or when they show Taylor Swift, or not even when they show Taylor Swift, just talking. All they have to say is, she's here. And we know. I love. Anyone who's mad about it, like, check yourself. Anyway, that was just like my giddy, like, happy little high, because it is such a high following all the information coming out about them. And his name is Killatrav on Instagram, right? And I love seeing the side-by-sides of him with his mustache and then bringing up Lightning McQueen with the mustache. Ka-chow. Okay, anyway. All right, I'm done. Okay, now to the star of the episode. My low. My knee injury. If you can't tell, I'm very upset by this. So, knee injury update. I talked about it, I think, a little bit in last episode. My little mini recap here is my knee started popping when I was in Oregon as a part of my September travel extravaganza. And I thought nothing of it. My body cracks all the time. I'm an ex-dancer. I'm very crackly. Like, I just walk. I snap, crackle, pop. Like, that is very normal. So I thought nothing of my knee popping because, hello, I pop everywhere. Like, it just happens. And it never caused an issue for me before. And as I moved forward, continuing, like, my normal routine of going through and, like, running and whatnot, pain started. So as soon as I was back in Florida, I did, I think, a couple runs where like it wasn't really a thing. It kind of was like making itself known to me. My knee was a little bit like, hey, but I like didn't really think anything of it. So yeah. But when the pain started, that's when it was like, okay, well, I should go get seen. And it took weeks to even get seen by a doctor. America, am I right? But I have not run, as I'm recording this episode, I have not run in 2 full weeks. So that is making me really, really sad and defeated and just scared for what the next few months bring. And we are so close to January, and that's also why I'm double freaking out that the fact that it's already October, because now I have even less time to rehab this and get back to training if I have any hope of like going in as strong as I was wanting to and like leading up to this point. So yeah, so I haven't run in 2 weeks. It's taken that amount of time to just get seen by the doctors and get answers. So I am depression. Mental health is like, it's plummeting. She is downward, but I know it's better to like take the rest now and not push it and not injure myself further, because I don't want to jeopardize not being able to participate, because that would send me. I would literally lose it. So I'm grateful that it's still on the table for me. And we're not throwing in the towel yet. I felt like it felt like I was throwing in the towel after my first appointment with my orthopedic doctor, because that just didn't go well for me. But now I saw him again, and so I'm feeling more confident. So basically, I saw the ortho doctor. I had an x-ray done of my knee, and then he had ordered an MRI after I saw him for the first time. MRI came back, and I have no meniscus tear, and I don't need any surgery. So those are very good things. That is good news. I'm trying to accept it as good news, which it is. And I have a little note here, because this is a lot of medical jargon that I want to share, because it's interesting to learn, and I had no idea. I had never heard of any of this before. So I am going to share a little blurb, so it will sound like I'm reading off of a page, because, well, I am. So before I do that, though, he basically told me after the first appointment, you have runner's knee, which is it's patella. Oh gosh, what? I didn't have that one written down. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, I had patellofemoral syndrome, which is basically runner's knee, and it's super common, and it's basically just an overuse injury. And from what I read online about it, it's very common within runners, but it's usually caused when you ramp up too quickly, in my head. I was thinking, when you start running too many miles too soon, that can impact your body in negative ways, clearly. And I was so confused, because I had ramped up so slowly this time around, and I felt so amazing in training, because I started working with my running coach in March, and she really got me to a great place. I was incorporating consistent strength training. I had issues with a little bit of shin splints last year when I was training for my first dopey challenge for this past January, and I have not had anything of the sorts, no aches and pains anywhere. And then, of course, this knee issue feels like it comes out of nowhere. So I was definitely defeated, because of course the doctor's going to be like, well, if running causes you pain, don't run. Oh, wow. I'm so glad I paid to be here for you to tell me that. Don't run. Okay. I won't run. So I was really upset after that first meeting, and that was before I got the MRI. And so in my mind, all I'm being told is don't run. Okay, well, what does that mean for training? It means you can't train. So really, really defeating. I went and got the MRI done. Holy crap. I go through this every time with the healthcare system, and it's nothing against individuals. It's literally about the system and America. And while I'm very grateful to have relatively good health insurance, it's still so frustrating to have to advocate for yourself and have to drive halfway across the greater state to go get seen by these doctors and have someone who has availability. And it's just really a frustrating process. And not to mention, you have to pay for every little thing along the way. You have to take time off from work. You have to literally take hours away from your day and on the road. And it is so draining. So I had to take the day off from work. I had to go see this doctor, and then he ordered the MRI. I had to drive to northern Orlando to go get it, because that was the only place that could get me in. And it's been a whirlwind. So all that to say, I am frustrated and exhausted, and I had a really down weekend because of it, because it's just my knee hurts, I can't run, and I'm freaking sad. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read you my little blurb about my MRI. According to the MRI, I have mild localized superolateral Hoffa's fat pad edema with patellar maltracking. You got it? You thought that too? You got to that conclusion by yourself? I'm sure you reached that conclusion in your head first thing, right? Like you were totally like, oh, I bet it's mild localized superolateral Hoffa's fat pad edema with patellar maltracking. I'm sure that's exactly where you went, right? I was like, what in the hell is that? What in the Grey's Anatomy? Okay, so, and then I had my follow-up appointment with the orthopedic doctor, and I went in like much more prepared for not only like with my questions that I need to have, but like with how to present myself with the doctor, because in my experience, it is so hard to get what you need out of them. It's like half the time it's just you feel so rushed in and out of these appointments. They're like blah, 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 and this is this and this is this and this and this. You have X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Which one do you want? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, bye. Okay, check out. And I'm like, holy crap, like I don't even like what even happened. I don't know what happened. So I went in better prepared mentally for this appointment, and I had like written down all of my questions, and I like made sure to speak up for myself and made sure to explain my thought process and ask him the questions that might be redundant for him, but like I'm paying him for this, so he better give me the answer that I like, the information that I'm asking for. So it was very frustrated going in. But anyways, the explanation of what that actually means is the doctor explained that it means because of my left kneecap tracking outwardly, it's causing inflammation in my fat pad, which is causing the clicking and the pain. So I have like a little summary of kind of what he told me, but I had to like literally take notes and like ask him to repeat things. And that's what you should do, which I mean, you technically like maybe shouldn't have to, but like if you need to, do it. Like be your own biggest advocate. And this is something I try and push for myself and also spread the word to other people. Like don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. It sucks that you have to advocate so freaking hard for yourself sometimes, but if it's gonna get you better care, like you need to do it. You gotta step up and do it. So I was really brave today, guys. I was really brave. I was really brave. So I just need everyone to know how brave I was. And like I even told him like, okay, I'm gonna ask you a silly question. Walk with me, because like you just get the feeling that the doctors just want you in and out of there. And like I get it. There's people with worse problems than me. They're just doing their job and they want to get as many patients seen. But it's hard when you're the one on the table. When you feel like you can't be heard. This is making me emotional, and I did not want to be emotional. Like I thankfully didn't get emotional in the appointment, but it's so frustrating when you feel like you cannot be heard. And like you just get dismissed and you leave not getting all the answers that you wanted, and you're left to doing things on your own. But it's like I went to a professional for a professional's opinion and assistance, and not feeling like I'm getting it. So that's why I speak so passionately about it, because I've just been through so many of these doctor appointments where I feel so dismissed, and it's so unfortunate. But anyway, I have inflammation in my fat pad, which is such a silly name. I don't know who Hoffa is, but why did you have to name it Hoffa's fat pad? For what? Okay. Anyway, it's the little pad that goes right behind your kneecap, and he thankfully was like able to kind of point it out on the x-ray so that I could understand a little bit better, because I was like, huh? Holiday hoobie whatty? But in my x-ray, he showed me how my left kneecap especially isn't as straight and it isn't as perfect like as it needs to be. And it like tilts outward a little bit. So that's like it's tracking outwardly and it's being pushed outwardly, which is causing the inflammation in the little fat pad behind it, which is causing the clicking and the pain for me. And I like asked him if this could all be the combination of weak muscles surrounding the knee, which I mean, generally, again, I've said this before with even other ailments that like what you're experiencing as a symptom might not actually be the root cause of your pain. So could this be the combination of weak muscles surrounding my knee plus overuse, quote, plus over supinating in my current running shoes? So I don't pronate. I think I supinate a little bit, which is like pushing outwards rather than inwards. And because I have the highest arches of all time, I tried to combat that with my Hoka Gaviota 4s, which is a very high stability shoe, and added in my custom orthotic insoles that were custom fitted to my feet. It was potentially doing too much. So I asked him if it's, a combination of that, and he agreed. And then he also added in genetics. It just happens for some people, I guess. My genetics said, you're going to have a bad fat pad. I just can't get over that. Oh, what's wrong with your knee? Oh, it's my fat pad. Don't worry. What? So basically, moving forward, I was like, okay, well, what's the treatment? Where do we go from here? The goal is to bring the inflammation down. All right, you got it, dude. And generally, for normal people, you would want to take Advil or anti-inflammatories and things like Aleve and the go-tos for pain management. But for me, with my medical history and my GI tract issues, and as well as my stomach, liver, kidneys, blood clots, woo! With my history, I try not to take Advil. But if I'm thrashing in pain and blacking out on the ground, I'll take the Advil, which sometimes happens during my time of the month. How I love being a woman. Did I say that? Oh, okay. Well, now I've said it. So I told him, I was like, Advil isn't a really great choice for me because in order to keep the inflammation down as much as I would need it, you'd have to take Advil pretty consistently. And that would upset my body, and I don't want that. So he also offered doing a cortisone shot, and I don't want to do that. Cortisone shots are, I don't quote me on this, but they're not things that you want necessarily. They're very short-term solutions. They're temporary. They're not long-term. You can't get them super often. I think when I was having hip problems, I went through this, and one of the options was to get a cortisone shot, but you can only get them twice in your life in certain areas, and injecting yourself with cortisone is it can give you side effects too, and you don't know how that's going to play out in your body as you age, especially if you're on the younger side. And so that's just not something I wanted to do. And then so he was like, okay, well, we'll give you a little pack of prednisone, which is a steroid, and have that bring the inflammation down. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do the prednisone. So I got that. We'll be starting that. I'll be starting that tomorrow with breakfast because it has very, very specific instructions. And you start off with 6 pills and then you work your way down. So I'll be doing that for a week basically. And he said to strengthen my vastus medialis obliquus, aka VMO muscle, which is the inner teardrop muscle in your quadricep. So it's that muscle that's right above your knee on your inner thigh, and to really strengthen that. So I need to focus on that VMO muscle, and basically on both legs, so that this doesn't happen on my right leg. But the doctor gave me a PT referral, so now I'm waiting to schedule that, and I feel like I have more information and can at least go in the right direction now that I understand what's happening with my knee. He looked, I brought in my shoes, and I showed him the shoes I ran the marathon in last time, and the inserts that are in there, and then my new shoes that aren't stability focused. and he said like to maybe give it a try, the inserts in those shoes, because they aren't stability, so like it wouldn't be giving the same issue, hopefully, to like even supinate me more. So to try that. And then he also suggested the Voltaren like cream. It's like a topical anti-inflammatory cream, so that'll be, I ordered some of that. And I mean, I'm sure I could try things like BioFreeze too, which I haven't really been using. And yeah, but he also did provide me a knee brace, and of course my insurance didn't want to cover that, so paid $147 for my knee brace. I wish I was joking. But I honestly might try and call my insurance and like be like, what the heck? Why you no pay? Like, come on. And it's a true pull light, whatever that means. So it artificially like pushes my kneecap where it's supposed to be, like inward, and it has like a little like I don't know, like a plastic piece kind of, and then you like tug it as tight as it goes around your knee and pushes your kneecap back into alignment. And it's as comfortable as it sounds. So he also said I can pair this with KT tape. And he said that because I asked, like I asked most of these questions to be like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What do you think about this? Because they don't, in my experience, the doctors I've seen usually don't voluntarily list out all of your options, because I get it, like there's endless amount of options, there's endless amount of advice out there, and it depends on like in their practice what they find, works best and whatnot. But don't be afraid to ask. So I asked about KT tape, like, is that overkill if I tape it and wear the brace? And he was like, no, like we need to get your pain under control. We need to get you back to training if you're going to still make January happen. And I was like, well, we're making January happen. Like, January's happening. So I will be trying out the KT tape. I'm like getting acclimated to the brace. It's such like a interesting thing. But I also asked about like a heat to ice situation, like what he recommends, because I saw a massage therapist that recommended doing heat and then switching to ice for like less than half the amount of time, and making sure to always end with ice if I like rotate between heat and ice. And he stated like he's pretty old school with that he would recommend heat before your activity to like promote the blood flow, and then ice after the activity, but no more than 15 to 20 minutes, because after 20 minutes it starts to work against you basically. So we don't want that. So basically, the next things I need to do moving forward, I got to schedule my PT appointment so that I can make sure I get some good exercises. I've actually been noting down a ton of really good like glute strengthening, quadricep like stretches and strengthening, and like hip flexor strength in the meantime. And I didn't really know specifically what I needed for like knee strength, other than the information of runner's knee, which is so general, and also it's very common. So like there's a lot of exercises out there, but I wanted to make sure that like I'm doing specifically what my body needs. So it was kind of hard to get started with, any strength things, but definitely want to get that info from the PT. I'm going to wear the brace. He said to wear it when I'm running, like when I actually like start running again, and once I can ease back into it, once the inflammation comes down a little bit, and to kind of go from there. And I mean, especially wear it when I'm running, but also like when I'm walking and all that. And then focus on the VMO and stretching my IT band. So the usual runner things. All I can say is I'm about to have strong VMOs. That's the goal. That is the goal. Between now and January, my VMOs better watch out. So that's the update on my knee. I'm in better spirits now. I feel good moving forward, knowing that like I believe I can push through this, and I know what I need to work on now, like specifically, and I know what's going on. My fat pad is unhappy, so we've got to make the fat pad happy, okay? We ain't stopping till the fat lady sings or whatever that until the fat pad is happy. What about that? Gosh, anyone who listens to this is like, "Oh my god, this girl is crazy. She's crazy. You crazy girl." Okay. So that's my knee update. I wanted to aggressively share this update because again, it was frustrating to get to this point. It took me probably a month from when I started noticing my pain to like get to this point, which is frustrating in itself, but like I'm happy that we got here. So we're here now. It's okay. I'm going to live. It's fine. But we've got some work ahead of us. So rehab begins now, and I just gotta ease back into it and not get too worried about falling behind and wanting to like rush back into it, which I know would only set me back. So it's okay. It's okay. I'm working with my coach and like keeping her updated on everything. And one thing too was I thought that like aqua jogging might help while I can't like actually run, especially like last week when I was resting and like doing literally nothing. Like not even strength upper body, which I finally did. I like felt good enough to be like, okay, let me like work upper body and work on things that don't require my knee bending and won't cause me pain, because I can definitely still strengthen those things. And so, I mean, that's where I'm at now too, is to like work on control what I can. Control what we can control. And I mentioned aqua jogging, and I tried it for the first time this past weekend. I did like 20 minutes just to like feel it out, but you do have to bend your knee still. Like, I don't know that you can really do it effectively without doing the motion of bending your knee. It's like, well, I also have the Peloton that I can strength train on and get some cardio in, but it's bending the knee even more than it would be for running. And so with my issue, with my fat pad, it doesn't like bending. It says no bending. So anything that requires bending, aka walking, swimming, cycling, running, sitting, like it says no. So that is also what made me really unhappy, because it's not like I could be out walking still to still get the same benefits of like running those miles. So yeah, I did kind of take note into like when it is starting to feel better, and I did a little bit of like strength exercises last week to kind of see if that would help my knee feel a little bit better before I like knew the full story, and it did. I don't know if it was a placebo effect, but I think working on all the strengthening areas that connect to your knees, which is everywhere, it will only be good for me. So that's the update on my knee. We are moving forward. Keep moving forward. That is going to be the mantra for Dumpy. It's going to be the mantra. We're going to keep moving forward, okay? Okay. On to other things. I booked my resort for Dopey weekend. I'm really excited. My mom is going to stay with me again, and it's going to be a good time. I am determined to have a good Dopey weekend. Like, it is happening. It's in the cards for me. I will have a great weekend. I will have a great marathon. Like, it is happening. So that's that. I got my new vest because I decided I am going to wear a hydration vest for the marathon race itself. And I wanted to get like a cute color, and like thinking about my outfit and what shoes I'm going to wear. That's like the other fun part of races, is planning what you're going to wear. So, I mean, pictures are forever. So anyway, I'm going to like decorate a little bit, I think, and I want to put like cute things on it. So I'm trying to like distract myself with outfit planning and like fun things like that. Disneyland just released their race start and end points, and I think it was, let's see. I mean, all they said was the start start locations, rather. Or for the 5K, they say start Disneyland Park, but then they didn't put a finish. Disneyland 10K, you start and finish Disney Way, and the half marathon, you start and finish Disney Way. And then they have a little map with a star. It's like off to the right of Harbor, like away from the parks. So, okay. Yay. Yay. Exciting stuff. I don't know what I'm going to wear for Disneyland at all. I have like a couple things thought about for Dopey weekend. I love the idea of people doing kind of like coordinated coast to coast costumes. That sounds fun. I don't know. I really always like to have a theme to base everything off of, but since they're just based off of like the Fab Five essentially, I don't really know what to do with that. Like, give me a theme. But I don't know. We're still brainstorming, but this is what I think about because I like to plan far in advance to take the mental load off of future me, if that makes sense. Like, I like to do things when I have time to actually think about them and plan it out, as opposed to leading up to it. It'll just stress me out that there's like one more thing I have to do. So it's either way far in advance or like 5 minutes before. Those are the only two options I have. That's it. Those are the options for me when it comes to anything. So, by the way, when are we getting Coast to Coast medals? When? Like, we want to see what it looks like. Please provide. Cannot wait. Speaking of this week, I mean, I wasn't, but now we are. So, I cannot wait to stock the Chicago Marathon content this weekend. I'm so excited. I love following all of the running content on the interwebs, and I did follow all of the Boston Marathon qualifying cutoff videos, which were super disappointing to a lot of people because if you don't follow anything Boston Marathon related, the buffer that you needed to be accepted and to like participate in the race was much higher than people anticipated. So for example, I think for women, certain age range, it's like, what is it? It's like 18 to 25, or I don't remember the exact age range. The cutoff is 3 hours and 30 minutes that you need a sub 3:30 to qualify. But in order to be accepted into one of the 30,000 participants of the Boston Marathon, of the qualifying, or participants by qualifying time, you had to have a certain buffer. And this year it was like 5.5 minutes or something crazy. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but that sucks because it's like you do all this work and effort and you go to the race and you end up getting a BQ, like Boston qualifying time, and then you don't get accepted into the race because your buffer wasn't like wide enough. Like you didn't have like the 3:22 that you needed to get in, even though your qualifying time only had to be under 3:30. So, that was really hard to see people, because I there were a few people that I followed that were training so hard to BQ, and then they did, and then to not get into Boston Marathon. Like, rough. And then another girl I follow, she was training for the New York Marathon, and she got a stress fracture and she can't run. Oh, I can't even talk about it. It's going to make me upset. It's going to make me sad. And I just like totally felt for her. But anyway, I'm super excited to watch the Chicago Marathon stuff this weekend. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I just wanted to like give a little update, give a little info, give you way too much information about my medical history, and and just overshare, because who doesn't love that? So that brings me to my final segment, By the Numbers. We've got countdowns for the upcoming Run Disney races that I'm currently registered for. We've got Dopey, that is 3 months and 1 day away. I have 3 months to get my knee into tip-top shape. I can do it. I have hope. I haven't lost all hope yet. So we aren't at the panic point. We are keep moving forward. That's where we are. Dumbo, which is following Dopey, 3 months and 9 days away. We've got Princess Weekend, 4 months and 20 days away. I don't really have a pace update. My total mileage, 0. Okay, I gotta stop or I'm gonna cry. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure next episode I'll update you on how my rehabbing is going, how PT goes, how strengthening is going, when I can finally run again, and hopefully have some more good news. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me babble on about my life. And I hope if you're training for dopey that you are training. Please be training. Please be training. And I hope it's going well for you. I know it gets really tough and gritty at this time. You're in the double digits, I'm sure, if you're following the Galloway plan, for example. And it's getting tough. So stick to it. It will be worth it. Your training will pay off. And dopey will be the victory lap. We can do it. We can do it. So thanks so much for listening and get moving.